There we go. Okay, so I just want to say hi to everyone out there. I am blessed and honored to be joined by Sergio Athanasos. Did I
You
pronounce it
got
correctly?
it. You got it.
Yay! Um, Sergio is an immigration attorney. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Teri O'Donnell, and I am a franchise consultant. I assist people on researching franchise brands. We also assist people on franchising their businesses. So, anyways, just wanted to share a little bit about myself, but I want to introduce you to Sergio. He's an immigration attorney. He assists a lot of immigrants coming over to the US. And Sergio, introduce yourself, what your area of expertise is, and how you might be able to help people.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here. So, as Terry told you, my name is Sergio. I specialize in corporate immigration and specifically foreign investors wanting to come to the United States. So, sometimes that entails seeking out franchise opportunities to make the process of purchasing a business a little bit less overwhelming for someone that's thinking about taking the big jump out of their comfort zone and establishing themselves into a new country with a new business and a culture that they may not be too aware of or familiar with.
So I just have a question for you. I work with a lot of people that are interested in coming from different countries. Are there certain parameters? Can anyone from any country come to the US? Or are there specific countries that are allowed? Uh,
That's a good question. So for the E-2 visa specifically, there are countries that are part of a treaty. So the history behind it is that there was a treaty. So if you are from a country that is an E-2 treaty country, then you would qualify for the E-2 visa if you meet the other business requirements.
awesome. And what's an idea of some of the business requirements?
So we like to see a substantial investment. When I say we, the US government, a substantial investment into the business, and they like to see that the funds have actually been committed to the business or spent or invested into the business, which usually is about 100,000. Not to say that there can't be less. We've seen as low as 50,000, sometimes lower, but 100,000 seems to be the sweet spot for what a substantial investment is.
Okay. Um, And can it be a startup business like a brand new franchise business, or does it have to be existing or an established business that your clients invest
So the client can purchase the business. They have to be the owner. So they could
in?
purchase the business. I like to see at least 50% of the business to show that they have some sort of control over the company. So they could buy an existing, their own business.
Okay, okay, great. And so people from other countries, treaty countries, can come invest in a business in the US, anywhere in the US. Doesn't have to be a specific state. Ideally, they may want to move here to be around family, possibly, or friends.
Correct.
So they have some familiarity with the area that they'll be
Right, right.
establishing themselves in.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. Somebody knows somebody or has a cousin or a relative, and then I think more feel more comfortable. So, but it also depends on their business model, what they want to do, and the demographic of that location.
Sure, sure. Okay. Um, can you give an idea of the timeline? How long does it usually take from the moment someone first contacts you? And maybe you can kind of spell out a little bit of the steps in your process.
Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody comes to me and they say, "Hi, I'm from an E-2 treaty country and I have $100,000 to spend. What do I do? What are my steps?" So
Mhm.
at that point, I say, "Do you have a business model in place, a business that you want to start or you're familiar with at home, or are you interested in purchasing a business, or do you want to maybe get involved with a franchise, purchasing a franchise. So that would be the first conversation. Now it varies on the people. Sometimes they come to me after they already started their business, and I'm like, I wish you wouldn't, because if you came to me sooner, we could plan a little bit better strategically for immigration and for your business model. But when
Hmm.
they come to me, I talk to them about the options. So, and I give them the timelines based on that. So it varies, because if somebody comes to me and they have to establish their business, they have to get an FEIN, they have to get a corporation or maybe an LLC or whatever type of entity that they want to form, and then spend their money and do their marketing. That all has to happen before I compile the final application to submit. So that ranges on how quick somebody is, or how ready they are to launch. So let's just say somebody comes to me and we get everything set up and their business is ready to go and all the fees are paid and it's like turnkey ready, I call it.
Hmm.
They're ready
Hmm.
to start the business. They just need the visa. From that point, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for our firm to prepare
Okay.
the application, review, and get it going. And then from there, you submit the application
Hmm.
and you wait for your appointment. But it differs because every consulate has its own rules.
Okay.
So it gets frustrating because, some consulates it's like a year wait, some it's like a month wait, some it seems like it's just faster than others. So it really depends on the country that you're coming from, where you're processing. I would say that on average, from talking to me, 6 months, we could probably get them a visa. I would say 2 a year from our initial conversation and running their business.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, I get that. The timeline definitely varies. So if someone was interested in coming here using their E-2 visa, purchasing a franchise, typically they would have to write a check for the franchise license first. So that checks that box, shows they're investing in the US. Well, let me go ahead and kind of step in at that point and talk about the franchise selection process and what I would go through maybe with any of your candidates that are coming to the US. I would want to establish first and foremost what their budget is and also what their experience level is. Um, Whatever they did, maybe they were a house painter in another country. So that might be a natural fit to help find a franchise brand that involves house painting. Maybe they
Right.
were in auto mechanic or maintenance or, whatever that is. We would try to find something that aligns with their experience and expertise. And it would be then a natural fit for them to come over to the US. So, anyways, that's really a little bit about the selection process. It isn't very difficult. I have access to over 600 franchise brands. So, it's really just getting to know the immigrant candidate and what they're looking for, what kind of goals, financial goals they have. Um, yeah. So, it's nice to actually connect with people that know the process. I often have people call me, and I'm so excited to have a relationship with you because I need to have some really solid referral partners. And an immigration attorney is someone that I've really been looking for. So it's absolutely so great to be working with you. I want to be a reference and a referral source for your clients. And you're definitely going to be one of mine.
Absolutely. I mean, the feeling's mutual. So, when I get clients, sometimes they come to me and they say, I don't know where to start,
Mhm.
I'm lost, and sometimes they ask me, they say, I have this certain skill or I have this degree, and sometimes they don't have any experience. I'll have pretty young people, they might be 23, 24, and their parents gifted them the money to invest, which is a legitimate source. One of
Sure.
the things that I do is consider, where did your money come
Source
from?
of
You can't.
funds. Yeah.
Source of funds, yeah. So, if it's illegal activities, probably not going to work out for you. but a gift is okay. So I do have a lot of my E2s, I have young people and they'll say, but I never ran this type of business before. So for E2 purposes, that is okay. There's no requirement that you must have experience in a particular business. You could just be an entrepreneur and taking a
Mhm.
risk, and that is okay. We like that here because we like people that take risks. However, it does help if you have that experience. So that's, I think, where what we do aligns. I see the need, I see the immigration components, where the money's coming from, how the money's being brought to the US into the account, how the money is actually being spent. But, I don't have exactly that knack to tell somebody, and it's not really my field to take on that responsibility to say, hey, I think you'd be great at this, or I think you'd be great at that. So, from a liability standpoint, it's awesome. But also,
Mhm.
as an attorney, I shouldn't really be advising people on the type of businesses to run. I'm not a
Sure.
financial expert or a franchise expert. So that's where, you're a great teammate, and my clients would value your expertise and feedback, no doubt.
Yeah, I get it from the legal standpoint for you. It's good to have a little bit of an arm's length from the transaction itself. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you also have resources to assist people with things like business plans, because
Yes.
business plan is definitely a part of the immigration process, correct?
Yes, I do have companies that I use, a few in particular that know the E2 process. So, for the E2, you want to show a 5-year projection because your visa should be a 5-year visa. It depends on reciprocity for your country.
Mhm.
I'll try to save you from all that, but let's say, 5-year visa. But regardless, you should show a 5-year business plan. So I have business plans that know exactly how to do that and how to gear or draft the business plan for a consular officer that's reviewing your case, or USCIS if you're here in another status. But typically,
Mhm.
you're abroad or going abroad to get the visa.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's great. I'm going to say from in addition to having possibly familiarity or experience in a particular industry, most of the franchisors I work with that do allow E2 visas, uh, occasionally, um, it's a case by case basis. It's not just a blanket. Yes, anyone on an E2 visa can join our system. Most of my franchisors do prefer um, English speaking and people that can certainly read and write English. So definitely a benefit. I do know some franchisors that have created operations manuals, possibly in Spanish. So it does assist them a little bit as they're building their business initially, but I would plan on making sure that you're an English speaker or you know can read and write.
Absolutely. And
So,
language will be one of the things considered at the consular interview. Can you speak the language? Because that'll just go into whether you can actually develop and direct your franchise. So it's important, unless you had a business model where perhaps things were more automated, or you could do your work without actually communicating directly with the clients, that may work, but then you might get into, that gray area of, well, are you actually running the show? So I would say certainly having
got it.
English skills strengthens your case. Now, when you go to the consulate that you go to in the country that they sit, they're presumed to be able to speak that language. So if you're going to a consulate in Germany, they should speak German, and if you're German, then that's great. But they may ask questions in English, and if you can't speak English, they may say, "Well, how are you going to run this business?" And you should have an answer for them.
Ah, very good. Very good. Okay, awesome. Well, is there anything else that you can think of that you want to share with anyone that might be listening to our conversation?
I would say, don't be afraid. I think that's hard to say for anyone that wants to start your firm, consulting, or business, I should say. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you call it a firm. And it's a scary step. And I think that's why you and I have a passion for this, because it's scary. And then to think, to come from another country and maybe English isn't your first language. And to come in here is scary, but I've seen tremendous success and I've seen people come and start franchises, my clients, and um, refiled their renewals. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they make more money than I do. You know what I mean? And I'm like, they're doing great because I have their financials. I see what they're doing, and I'm like, this is really awesome. And I really like the franchise model because I feel that it takes some of the pressure off. So I do want my clients and people out there to consider a franchise because, they might be able to get some training and some prep. I mean, you could speak to that better than I can, but I mean, what could a franchise do? Let's say I'm new and I'm scared and I want to start a business. I have the funds. What could some of the franchises do for me?
Yeah, so it depends, of course, on the investment level, but all franchisors do provide training. Some provide better training than others, but that's the purpose of the franchise model, is to provide training, initial training, and ongoing support. And in exchange for that ongoing support, they'll typically make a royalty payment to the franchisor. So when someone invests in a franchise, they write a check for the franchise fee, and then they start to attend training. They can bring typically managers that will help run the business. Franchisors like to train as many people as possible. So everyone's rowing the boat in the same direction. Um,
Right,
but that's really the benefit. You are surrounded by like-minded people. And one of my favorite mantras is a rising tide lifts all ships. And what that means to me is that I'll help my neighbor. If they might be struggling in an area, it's just another community for you as a franchise owner, to be connected with. You typically can pick up the phone and call one of your neighboring franchisees and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. What would you do? Let's brainstorm. And most people in
right.
the franchise systems love to help each other.
That's
So,
wonderful. That's wonderful. And also, one of the prongs to the E-2, one of the requirements is that you have a real operational business or but for the visa, it's ready to
mhm,
go, the
mhm.
turnkey operational. So what's nice about franchises, and I leave my clients decide if they want to do a franchise, start their own thing. But franchise has a name out there. They have marketing materials. There's usually a website.
Yeah.
So to show it's real and operational, it's a lot easier, especially if the consular officer knows the name. Maybe it's a big franchise that everybody knows, or maybe it's not, but maybe it's
Mhm.
something that they can Google and to Google things during interviews. So they have a computer, so they could look it up and they could see it and say, okay, I see what you're doing. You have a business plan. I see the company right here.
Yep.
So that's great. That also helps.
Oh, yeah, providing that marketing support. The corporate team will often help set up locations, microsite, Facebook page, whatever that might be. So there's the technology assistance that certainly comes along with it. But there's essentially, when someone invests in a franchise, they're investing in the system and the processes that come with that. Operations manuals. If you're going to build a brick and mortar business, it often includes the construction manual. So you're not starting from
Exactly.
scratch, even though it might be formally listed as a startup. They've got everything in place for you. That's why I love franchising personally. It's like, give me the playbook, let me execute it. I
And
can,
you're speaking from experience, right? You've done this. You've done
yeah,
this before.
yeah. I have. My husband and I are investors in our fourth and fifth franchise brand.
Wow.
I've personally been in the industry for almost 2 decades now, and I absolutely just love helping people, helping them explore what could be next for them. So
So you're
there's,
living proof of the franchise model. I mean, you're a happy franchisor.
yeah.
So,
And you know what? For a hot second, I want to speak to the fear piece, because I was scared to death. The first 10-year lease we signed, I thought, oh my God, what did I just do? I signed away our kids' college funds, and I'm standing proof to say all three kids have graduated from college, and one even has his master's degree. So I didn't blow their college fund.
you made it.
We
You made
didn't.
it.
Yeah, we made it. We've always had successful exits, and it's, for me, I have lifelong friends from franchising as well. People that I met 20 years ago, several. that I met decades ago are still friends today. So it's a great business model. I enjoy it
That's
thoroughly.
wonderful. That's wonderful. And I think people like to hear, the success stories, of just running a business in general, but also going with the franchise. So I'm really excited about what the future holds and,
Yeah.
being able to work together, network and, help our clients to
Yeah,
find the right fit for them if the franchise is the right fit. I think that's fantastic.
absolutely. So one final question for you, Sergio.
Sure. Shoot.
So do if I were an immigrant looking for a immigration attorney, do I have to pick an attorney in the state that I want to move to?
No, you don't. I'm glad you brought that up. It's a common misconception. We practice federal law immigration. So, for example, I always say like one state, let's say Illinois, can't say, oh, we'll let anybody in that's not American to run a business. That's not how it works. So it's a federal issue. So federal meaning the US. It's a US-wide issue. So your attorney does not have to be in your state and your locality. And it does not restrict our ability to represent you if you're in another country. So my clients are all over the world, which makes this fun, aside from time zones, but we end up working it out. If you're in Australia or Pakistan, sometimes my morning is your night. I say you're in the future, like how's the future? But no, we could represent you anywhere and help
Awesome.
you. And
Yay.
your clients, I mean, can you help somebody find a franchise from anywhere? I'm assuming yes.
Yeah, anywhere in the US, typically, but I actually do work with some international clients as well, whether it's a
Awesome.
franchisor looking to bring a brand to the US that they've established in another country, or if it's a franchisee looking to bring a brand to another country outside of the US. Maybe it's a US franchise and they say, we love this business. We want to bring it to Australia or Canada. So we do have connections internationally as well. So it's exciting.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. It's
Yeah.
very exciting.
Well, Sergio, just do you want to give us your website or how can someone get in touch with you?
Yeah,
Um,
of course. It's a sergiolaw.com. And then my email is sergio@sergiolaw.com. And I think email is the best way through my website. There's a little contact form you could fill out that will come to my email and I can look at it. And that will come to me directly. So, and I mentioned earlier, if they discuss this video, I'd be happy to offer them a free consult preliminarily to discuss, what the process might look like, the fees and stuff like that. I'd be happy to just to waive any consult fee to just help them out. I mean, that's really what we're here for at the end of the day.
Awesome. Awesome. And anyone listening, my name again is Teri O'Donnell. I'm founder and CEO of Prosperity Franchise Group. You can email me at terio@prosperityfranchisegroup.com. Go to our website. Same thing, there's a contact form to reach out. So between Sergio and I, we can help you find a business of your dreams and get you to the US successfully.
Sure can.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Sergio. It was so good to chat with you today. I appreciate
It
your
was
time.
great. Thank you. Talk soon.
All
Signing
right,
off.
sir. Take care. Thank you. I like
Take
that.
care. Bye.
Bye.